of our new English unit. And for this one, we are going to be writing a story, and it's going to be based on a model. So in a moment, you are going to hear the story. The story is called Howl, and it's about a boy who changes into a wolf, has a mini adventure, and then changes back again. Now, at the end of this unit, we have several lessons to do before. You will be writing your own version of this story. So I would like you, when you hear this, I want you to start thinking about how are you going to use this story as a model? Are you going to have a boy or girl character? What are they going to change into? Which animal? It can be any animal. And what's going to happen? So you don't need to write anything down for that. You just need to start thinking about it, maybe discussing it with someone that you're able to talk to. However, the main LO for today is I can look up unfamiliar vocabulary using a dictionary. So you are going to hear the story in a moment. If you hear an unfamiliar word, you can copy it down, press pause and copy that word down, make a list and then look it up. Or you can wait until the end and then you can have a look at a paper copy of the story which is uploaded to Google Drive, and then you can have that in front of you and then you can go through that. It's your choice. Either do it from the screen on the video or afterwards look at the story which is on Google Drive. So that is the learning objective. I can look up unfamiliar vocabulary using a dictionary. So you're going to hear the story now and then you won't hear from me for the rest of this lesson. Okay, so let's get ready for the story, Howl. Howl. Your turn to get the ball, cried Peter. Okay, don't go anywhere, replied Jack. Leaving the pitch and his friends, Jack entered the trees. It was shady and damp amongst the greenery. Nearby, a bird sang happily, and, somewhere close by, a stream gurgled gently. Slowly, he scanned his surroundings, but the ball was nowhere to be seen. Where is it? He asked himself in a frustrated voice. As Jack moved further into the small wood, his friends' voices faded. Suddenly, he felt a strange tingling sensation. His nose began to grow. His hands changed into paws, and fur sprouted all over his body. In less than a minute, Jack was on his knees, feeling very weird. Something peculiar had happened. Next, Jack tried to walk, but when he did, he used 4 legs instead of 2. Then he noticed his clothes were lying in a crumpled heap. Before he had time to think, his nose twitched. A million odours were wafting on the air. He could smell flowers, water. Who knew water had a smell? And other new, interesting things. Just then, something caught his eye. It was a puddle, and in it, staring back at him, was his reflection. But it wasn't the image of an 8-year-old boy. It was the reflection of a wolf. Panicking, Jack shrieked in shock, but in place of a boy's scream, he heard a loud, blood-curdling howl. Absolutely terrified, Jack ran as fast as he could. However, he hadn't realised just how powerful wolves are, because he shot out of the trees into the park and right onto the pitch where his friends were waiting. Everyone looked at the huge beast in amazement. Peter, it's me, it's Jack, he cried. Although Jack thought he was speaking, all the children just heard snarling and growling. They thought they were about to be eaten alive. Run for your lives, yelled Peter. Rapidly, Jack's friends and all the people in the park fled quicker than bullets. Before he could react, Jack heard the police sirens approaching fast. Then he heard a helicopter in the sky. Attention, attention, leave the park. There is an escaped wolf on the loose, called a voice from a megaphone. As quick as a flash, Jack dashed back into the trees. His mind was racing and his heart was beating like a drum. What could he do? Then his super-sensitive ears heard men entering the trees and vicious barking. They had dogs with them. They were talking about shooting him with a tranquilizer gun so they could knock him out and take him to the zoo. But I'm not from any zoo, he thought, panicking. Slowly but surely, The men and their dogs were approaching from all directions. He was trapped in the trees and had nowhere to go. Then he felt it once more, the tingling sensation. His ears and nose began to shrink, the fur disappeared from his body, and his tail vanished. He was a boy again. Luckily, the transformation happened right by his pile of clothes. As fast as he could, he threw them on, and in less than a minute he was dressed. "What are you doing in here, son?" asked a policeman. I lost my football," Jack answered nervously. "Haven't you heard? There's a wolf on the loose," said the policeman. "Really? That's news to me." "Maybe he took my ball," replied Jack, sighing with relief.